Okay, well, I hope this reaches you well. It is July 12th, and I am going live to try to get some information out, and I will try to do this as quickly as possible. But again, it's a lot of information, so I'm going to try to go through it as fast as I can. And if you are new here to my channel, please comment below and tell me where you're tuning in from. My name is Chelsea Collie. I empower people, mainly women, to achieve their dreams, and it's my goal to help us elevate the world with the power of love. So you'll have to excuse me. I'm in my game room right here. I'm having some technical issues. I've had some technical issues for like the past year, and my computer has stopped working twice in the past year. I'm just trying to get this angle. I guess that'll just have to do. Okay, well, let me just go ahead and get through it. Okay, so a lot of this intel is going to be from different sources. A lot of it is from Michelle Moore Winder. And Michelle Moore Winder, you can find her on Facebook, but I pretty much cover everything that she covered in her live video today. So there were a lot of internet outages in the United States today, and in Canada there was a cash payment debit company that went down. Like half of the debit cards, ATM and all that kind of stuff went down in Canada. And that happened again today, and it also happened a few days ago. Today, actually yesterday, was 7-Eleven, so July 11th, and every 7-Eleven has free slushy day on 7-Eleven. So it's free Slurpee Day, free Slurpee days at 7-Eleven. And there were attacks, multiple attacks at 7-Elevens in Los Angeles. I know at least 4 different 7-Elevens had multiple shootings, and there were 2 people who were shot. One person shot and killed, bullet in the head. Completely random, so it's just very sad. Send them all some love for that horrible sudden tragedy. So the word is, and I hope this is not right, I hope the White Hats are able to prevent this from happening, but the NSA, the word is the NSA is planning to pull the plug on Telegram, Rumble, and BitChute by the end of the month. By the end of July, the plans for the NSA is to pull the plug on Telegram, Rumble, and BitChute. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Speaking of, make sure you subscribe to my Rumble, because I do have 2 strikes on my channel. So please make sure you subscribe to my Rumble channel so I don't lose you if we do get cut off here. So if that does happen with the Telegram, Rumble, and BitChute, then it could entice or allow Facebook and Instagram to start amping up the censorship. Like, they might make it worse. I don't know if you saw, but Trump's second to last speech, he actually called for the death penalty for drug dealers and child traffickers. If anyone's killed a child having to do with child trafficking or drug dealers, he's calling for the death penalty. This is something they have in China with a quick trial, and it goes to a quick trial, and then they kill the guy. So they don't mess around, and no one sells drugs in China because they have this policy there now. So China gets all their drugs and they come sell it here on the border and stuff. There's over 200,000 people a year, probably a lot more than that, dying just because of problems with the dosage. So fentanyl is a huge problem right now. You could put a little bit of white powder on my fingernail, and kill somebody with just that small amount, that dosage of fentanyl. So on average, these drug dealers are killing about 500 people, for on average. So the Bannon trial was on the 6th. Also, she confirmed again for like the third or fourth time that Elon Musk is working with Trump. He has been for years. Elon Musk did use the art of war with Twitter in order to get them to release or reveal the bots. So who's behind the bots? What is that? And who are they? What are they doing? Well, apparently a lot of these, people are fake. And so they like to make you think that all these people are in support of Mr. B, when in reality, all of those are fake people who just talk crap. So, I don't know how much it was, but I think it was like over 20% or something are bots, which is a lot. So he used the art of war. So he said, I'm going to buy Twitter, and signed the deal or whatever with him. And then he said, okay, you have to tell me, like, you have to reveal the bots. And they're like, no, we're not going to do that. And he's like, well, no, I'm not going to buy Twitter. And they're like, oh, we need the money. Okay, we'll reveal the bots to you. So that is exactly how the art of war is done. So that kind of tells you a little bit right there that he very well could be a white hat working with Trump, Elon Musk. So just remember that I'm going to be sharing this information. It's not to scare you, it's just to prepare you. And let's just go ahead and remember to get prepared. I need to get a generator. What if we lose power? I want to make sure that we have air conditioning. It's super hot. I mean, it was like 109 degrees today here around Austin, Texas. So we need to have plans in place and make sure we have a lot of water and everything like that. And also, it's possible we could lose internet. It's just, it's just possible. Or power. There was something that was shared, and this is from Kash Patel, that 46 out of the 50 states have now been, the media is ignoring it, and that is why DJT is discussing the final four. So that was a little bit of intel, juicy intel that no one else knows. The reason they're discussing the final four is the final four states that need to, the contest. I think you know what I'm talking about. So, the U.S. is due to extend the health emergency on Friday. Under this emergency order is why it allows them to do all the things that are totally unconstitutional that they've been doing. They're doing all of this under the protection of this extended emergency order. So they're going to extend it again. Wisconsin outlawed drop boxes. ATMs and down in Canada today. I said that. The New World Order, the new term for the New World Order is the New Liberal Order. And there's actually people that are referring to it on the news. They're actually talking about the New Liberal Order. So just know, when they're talking about the New Liberal Order, we know they're talking about the New World Order. And I'm glad they're admitting it. Maybe this is part of the disclosure too. It's like, how many stupid things can they say till we realize this is all one big freaking joke? So, the joke's not on us because we know better, right? So, this was very interesting too. So Mel K, this is Mel K's intel, from Michelle Moore-Winder. So the guy that is the owner or founder, CEO or whatever of BlackRock is Larry Fink. And Larry Fink is highly corrupt, worked very closely with Hillary Clinton, and as we know, Hillary Clinton was like predestined to be president. That's why it was such a shock heard around the world when Hillary wasn't president or wasn't elected in 2016. So, also, just to backtrack on that, back in 1910, the plans were made that in 2016 and 2020, there would be a woman president for 2 terms, and before that, you know, they had predicted Obama, 2 terms, first black president, first woman president. They predicted that over 100 years ago. So they planned it, and she was never supposed to lose. So they had a deal that Larry Fink, who is the CEO of BlackRock, was supposed to be the Secretary of Treasury for Hillary Clinton. That's pretty juicy. And that's why it's all so corrupt. I do want to tell you, we know, if you've done any research on like who owns what as far as the investors and who owns what companies, we know that BlackRock, State Street, is it Vanguard? BlackRock, State Street, and there's one other one. They own, like, they have ownership in everything. So they actually, if you do the research, they own 90% of the S&P 500. Yeah, it is Vanguard. BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street own 90% of the S&P 500. 3 different companies. Just, that's the whole, you know, there's only like 2 numbers you look at really in the stock market. You're looking at the S&P 500 and you're looking at the Dow Jones. Well, they own 90% of the S&P 500, so interesting to see how much they own of the Dow Jones too, or if that's more, maybe that's more diversified, I'm not sure. So, LA County tried to mandate the, again, for the schools, and the judge says no. So let's go ahead and say a quick prayer. Thank you, Judge, for upholding our Constitution, and thank you, Judge, for protecting the children in Los Angeles County, and let's pray prayers of protection over you and your family. Thank you for doing the right thing. Amen. Thank you for keeping our children safe. And just remember, if our schools are harming our children, it is our responsibility to stop our school boards from doing that, and our local governments. I still have these mosquitoes haunting me, so pray for me that the mosquitoes go away. Also, I got a little attack last night. I don't know. Sometimes I wake up with scratches. Usually they're right here. Let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna try to record this, but my phone could die, and if it does, I'm sorry. PFIZER. Just want to let you know they stopped doing testing, animal testing, because all the animals were, either half to all of them were, and remember, this, was approved for 6 months to 5-year-olds. It was approved. So remember that, you know, they couldn't even publish the animal tests because they were so detrimental, but they approved it for our 6-month-old babies up to 5 years. So, down with crimes of humanity, and may they all pay. The US government is suing Walmart for scamming customers. That's promising, right? We know that Walmart is totally a China company, and um, there must be some good guys behind that if the US government is taking legal action against Walmart for scamming their customers. I wonder if that's linked to the child trafficking. Flights all over the world are getting canceled. People don't want to fly anymore because of, so there are tons of resignations and deaths of leaders around the world. The entire UK government completely resigned, including Boris Johnson and many, many other countries. Macron was ordered to resign. I believe that was 2 days ago. He was not just encouraged or asked or suggested. Macron was ordered to resign, and maybe these are resignations, or maybe these are deaths of some of these leaders, or maybe they're good guys and they're being protected, or maybe they're bad guys and they're being protected in jail. So there is information that will be released next week that makes 2,000 mules totally irrelevant. So there is some major white hat military intel of hers that are saying there's some pretty big things to be released next week that makes 2,000 mules look totally irrelevant. So whatever you want to take that as. Also, she pointed out, this is still from Michelle, thank you, Michelle, 80% of the military tribunals are covert. Only 20% are actually public. The rest are all undercover. The reason for this is, some of them, they want public, and there's certain things they want to put a spotlight on. They do want to protect the juries, so they are protecting a lot of jury members and their families, and obviously this is a sting op, so that's why 80% of the military tribunals are completely covert. So why? Okay, so we know the news that came out about the Supreme Court did the overturn. So why are they leaking that out there? Well, Michelle says they leak it out. They have someone leak it on purpose, so that way you've heard it a few times, you've heard it for a few weeks, maybe it's been a month, and then it actually happens, and you're like, oh yeah, I wasn't sure if that was true or not, but I heard that was happening. So maybe the people won't be so mad by the time it happens. I don't know when it's gonna happen, but that's the reason that they leak something out, is so that softens the blow for when it actually does happen. She did say that Roberts is not being protected. She said Roberts is a bad guy. He's been gone for a while, or taken care of or whatever. And she has been reporting for months, maybe over a year, that the Chief Justice is now Clarence Thomas, which is great because he's a good guy. Putin is eliminating the Khazarian mafia and eliminating the Rothschild influence across the financial system. So we know that Putin, 9 or 10 years ago, kicked the cabal out of Russia and, gave the Rothschilds a kick out the door and said, I don't want you part of this financial system. And so Putin is eliminating the Khazarian mafia, and looks like I think he made an announcement that he may be declaring war on Ukraine. So that's all part of the movie. I don't like using that term, but you know what I mean. So we know that like Xi and Putin and Trump are the three horsemen. What do you call it? The three amigos? How about three amigos? That's better. Hi, Sharon. UK, Canada, Germany, and US continuity of government. So Trump was working on a plan with the UK, Canada, Germany, and the US on the continuity of government. And this was like he's been working with this on this like recently and for years. So that was just interesting. I covered Larry Fink and how he of BlackRock was supposed to be the secretary treasurer for Hillary. You probably noticed that the Hunter's new slew of crap from his computer is out. What happened was these hackers hacked into his Apple iCloud and they made it all public. So that's why you see his video of him, you know, arguing with the hooker about how much crack he has. And that's why you see the video of him in some kind of like stasis pod, smoking crack in there naked. He loves to take videos of himself naked, and he loves for people to take pictures of him naked, and he likes to pose in different positions with, you know, his penis and different things, and, you know, so there's a lot of these pictures. Like if you ever saw the stuff on Hunter Biden's laptop, I know, right, Sharon? The craziest thing, and I laughed about this with my husband today, and I told him, okay, so there's a picture in the laptop where there's counters, and Hunter Biden is like this, hanging with his little junk down, and it's on there. So this is what this man does. He likes to take pictures of his penis, you know, and his naked body while he's smoking crack. He's super talented. Totally, Kimberly, super talented. I mean, totally, you know, like $500,000 artwork. Narcissistic penis type talented. So remember how we know the British Parliament resigned? So David Mahoney did a video on Nicholas Viniam, and it was very good. I highly recommend you watch it, but I'm going to cover the highlights. So David Mahoney has concrete intel, and it was someone that told him, and he confirmed it with 3 separate sources who were also in the building the same day that the UK government resigned, and he told us that there were over 35 members of the FBI inside the halls of Parliament. There were 35 members of the FBI inside the halls of Parliament in Westminster the same day the UK government resigned. What a coinky-dink. Wow, what a coincidence that 40 members of the Parliament just resigned the same day that there were FBI people all over. And he did confirm that, like I said, with different people who were in the building that day, and they're like, yeah, it was just a really weird day. They wouldn't let us go anywhere. We couldn't leave, and there were all these FBI dudes walking around the building, and we didn't know what was going on. So that's really happened. Now he has a theory, this David Mahoney guy. David Mahoney, he's also friends with like Mark Atwood. So he's over there, you know, one of the UK guys. He has a theory that ties with the US government he has a theory that there's an investigation with the British government into evidence of what they were doing, and this could be a number of things, what they were doing, but they were doing something in cooperation with the United States. Otherwise, why would the FBI be, you know, at the UK Parliament? So his conspiracy theory is that they are doing a major investigation of some kind of corruption with the UK and the US together, and they are trying to take down the UK government to ruin the foundation of the UK government. And he says the foundation of the UK government is what's holding up the Queen. So he thinks they're using this way to break the UK Queen, or UK foundation crumbles, and then the Queen dies. So he thinks they're using this to set up for London Bridge. It's a pretty good theory. So he also does talk about the fires in Rome. I'm going to try to make this quick because I wanted this to be short. It's a lot of information, but seriously, my phone might die, so hopefully it doesn't. He did talk about Rome, about the fires in Rome. He said there were 3 different places in Rome that were burning. One of them was the one that was reported. The other 2 were not reported. The one that was reported was like the auto recycling plant, and there were 2 other places. And I saw a video, I posted a video on Facebook. It is a big, huge fire. Yeah, there are 3 different places, Kimberly. And there were also reports seeing fire coming up out of the things in the, like the potholes in the street. There were fires coming up out of the street and smoke coming out of the, like, the little sewer grates. That's something we've seen before, like in DC when they blew up the dams. So that's probably what they're doing. They're probably blowing up those dams underneath the Vatican, and that's what David Mahoney totally talked about for a long time today, that they're blowing up the dams under there, underneath the Vatican. Now what's been under there has been under there for hidden for 1,000+ years. What do they use those tunnels under the Vatican for? Well, they've used it for child trafficking, satanic rituals, nefarious dark deeds, transporting people and little people, and storing sensitive information and documentation that they have withheld from humanity. The Vatican's not burning? Well, that's good that the Vatican's not burning. But Rome is burning in 3 different places, and apparently there's stuff happening under the ground, but I could not find if there was any part of the Vatican that was damaged. So if you did find that, let me know. I couldn't tell if there was any damage or if that was just like being hidden or what. I don't know if the obelisk still stands. Jesse says the Queen's dragon is in a pit under the Vatican. Under the Vatican? I thought that she had one in the castle, like she had one in the UK. I did hear her talk about that too. There was something else that Jessie said recently that probably a lot of people didn't notice, but she revealed it last Friday on the Reveal Report with George Iceman. She said the military may or may not be breeding giants underground. And sometimes she just throws out these little things and they try to keep talking, and no, she said that. She said, it might be possible, and it normally when she talks like that, yeah. So learning about this Tartaria stuff, I mean, that's a whole different, you heard her too, that's a whole different story, but I'm learning about this Tartaria stuff and how they had these giants that lived among us, and they killed a lot of the adults, and then they orphan traded the babies around, and this could have happened in the 1800s, so really not that long ago. There is evidence of Tartaria in Russia, but actually it was not just in Russia, it was all over the world. All spoke the same language. I mean, just look at how they divided us. They just annihilated all of them, and there were mud floods. this is the story of Tartaria. If you haven't heard of it, I would do some looking into it, because there is a lot of evidence that it is really legit, including lots of evidence of giants, which we've all seen those pictures of giants. So yeah, also Jessie mentions the dragon. This is my dragon's bloodstone. So she mentions dragons. She mentions fairy tales, and how, you know, these dark fairy tales are actually like true stories. And then I forgot to mention the other day when I made a recording that Jessie believes that there is a city underneath the Georgia Guidestones, and she wants to encourage people to find out what's happening under the Georgia Guidestones. So I don't know, but that's a little rabbit hole we can go down if we want to. So they've withheld this ancient history, this, you know, this mystery school teachings. They've withheld all of this sensitive information, documentation, ancient technology, held all this from the people. They have information under the Vatican of who are our real bloodlines, what is our real history. But word is that they're burning the tunnels. Days of freedom are approaching us. This is the end of slavery. Like, we are being unshackled. Like, we're not just going to be unshackled from debt, but we're going to be unshackled from our powers, like our superpowers and our abilities, you know, like the possibilities are endless. So we really do have the power within us. So just remember, you know, we're much more powerful than they have let us know. Yeah, I want to do a video on Jessie. I really get a good feeling from Jessie. She feels legit, and I really think she could be the surprise witness with Trump. I mean, I know she's working with Trump. I mean, I don't know it for a fact, but I feel it. And also, you know, she's alluded to it, and I have a friend who has heard her say that she's gone back and forth to get Mo, and she was doing that years ago. So she's been going back and forth and being a witness for years, and she's been like doing interviews for over 5 years. So she's legit. She's never changed her story. Oh, I believe it too. And she's mentioned that she has trained the military. Hey, this is what you're going to see under the tunnel. This is how you handle it. She's probably done some of the magic, you know, like to help them, like, whatever, some of the spiritual stuff, because she has spiritual gifts. Remember that they wanted Jessie Zaboter because of her spiritual gifts. And Jessie Zaboter, apparently, had the power to hold the gates of heaven open. So they wanted her because she literally has the power to hold the gates of heaven open. They were going to use that power to storm the gates of heaven so Satan could sit on God's throne. So that's what we're talking about. Not a lot of people know about Jessie, so consider yourself like lucky to know about this, and, you know, try to get the word out there, because her story checks out. She took a general to heaven. I don't know what that means. So these like UK government, what could they have been guilty for? Like, you know, this investigation that, you know, David Mahoney thinks is taking place. Well, they could be guilty of bribery, trafficking, narcotics, sexual assault. Somehow we're working with the US government on this. And like he said, there are 3 different unrelated sources that confirmed that the FBI was at the parliament that day. And London Bridge could be falling down soon, if you know what I mean. Also, talking about Tartaria, I just recently watched a video that was really good. have to put in the comments the name of it, because I can't remember the name of the channel right now. But I wrote this down from her. They showed pictures and evidence of Tartaria. There's evidence in the 1800s, early 1900s, so it really wasn't that long ago, y'all. And I think we had the 1,000 years of peace already, because they had all of these big Tartarian structures. And if you've traveled, like if you've, went to Italy and just see like these marvels, Milan, like these incredible, intricate, buildings. It's just, they even have some of those buildings over here, Chicago and San Francisco. I think a lot of those are ruined, but they even have some of those over here. Like a lot of the stuff in San Francisco that they had before the fire of San Francisco, that was apparently built in the 1800s, when they were driving horse and buggy and never had any power tools. Oh yeah, there's a ton of Tartarian information. I actually found out today about the slave thing, because apparently the slaves weren't brought over from Africa. Like they're native, they called them slaves, but they weren't slaves. They were never slaves. And the black people are from here. The African Americans people are not even African American, they're Americans. So they really did get it twisted. And this comes from, I think I wrote down his name. I didn't write down his name. It's like the myth of the Negro. I think it's what it's called, myth of the Negro. But it's this investigator, specialist, or whatever you call it. He studied African culture. He wrote 10 different books on African, culture and all this different stuff. And he dug, and he knew more than anybody. You can still buy his books on Amazon. So yeah, that was just part of the division. With Tartaria, we all spoke the same language. I think we all come from there. We probably all have Tartarian ancestors. It wasn't that long ago. It was 200 years ago, max. Because it was late 1800s, early 1900s that some of this stuff, and the buildings still stand. So just remember, we're living in a time where we don't actually know what the time is. Remember that, actually, we used to have 13 months, and there used to be 13 months of moon cycles, which makes sense, because a moon cycle is 29 days. So there's 365 days in the year. If you divide that by 13, there are 4-week periods. 4 times 13, I think, is 365. So really, we should be going off of that calendar, like what they did with the Catholic Jesuits by switching over to the Gregorian calendar. They messed us all up. They split us all up. They scattered us all about. They, made languages. They made history books. And it's even possible that they wrote the Bible 1800s, 1900s. It's so sad, but it's possible. So just open your mind, because we don't truly know. We're living in a time where we don't actually know what time we're living in. We don't know a thing about where we are in time and place, because we only know by what they tell us. So just remember, nothing is certain, and we could be way more amazing and magical than we already think we are. So, the truth is way more exciting, like Bryce says, the truth is way more exciting than this BS they make up. We have been fed a poop storm for many years. Well, the shit's about to hit the fan, so enjoy the shit show, and welcome to the apocalypse. Is that what Dave Nino says? welcome to the apocalypse, folks. So yeah. Also, there is evidence that there was electricity over 700 years ago, like in the palaces. There is evidence in the early 1800s of electric cars in different places in the United States. There is evidence that there were buildings that's powered by light, powered just by the light that God gives us. Can you imagine? Energy's free. We know that. Energy's free. Tesla was going to give it to us. He was giving it to us for free. They weren't going to charge for that. Well, they changed all that. Energy's free, folks. They could give us a suitcase in our house, and it could take magnetism power out of our air and power our whole house. Like, they have that technology. So it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next couple months, and it looks like we are totally just disclosure, like it's all happening. So super exciting times. Much love. We'll talk to y'all later. Let me know what you want to talk about so we can make some content that you guys want to see. All right. Much love. Take care. Let's say a prayer. Dear God, be with us. Protect us during this time. Help us to not fear. Help us to have faith. Help us to know that there is something better coming. And protect us, protect our families, protect our family and friends that don't know what's coming. Surround us all with your love and protection, and just help us to get through this time. Help us to not be angry with our family members or friends, and help us to love others like you do, and just protect us during this time, and help us to be able to break through some of our like inner wounds and some of our programming that is getting us caught up and twisted trying to figure everything out. Like, help us to just let go and let God and just have faith. And Jesus Christ's name, pray. Amen. My pleasure, Sharon. Love you guys.